this is Allie, and welcome to episode 4 of our podcast, Not That AA. And like I said, I'm Allie.
And I'm AJ.
And we have been kind of MIA for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks now because of the holidays, and we were just so busy, and we were out of the state. And now we're trying to finally get back into our normal routines. So we apologize for the lack of content lately.
Well, I hope everyone had a good holiday because ultimately that's what it was. We spent some quality time with our families, and that's why we've been away for a little bit.
Exactly. So, I mean, we enjoyed our time off, and hope everyone else did as well. So we have a couple new topics for tonight, and what do you want to talk about?
So, for the first topic, I'm a huge Disneyland-aholic. Mm-hmm. I'm from California. To me, Disneyland is the original theme park. And I've been to both. I've been to Disney World and Disneyland. And the thing is, Disney World feels a lot more corporate. And it feels a lot more like, just like a Six Flags or something like that. I feel like the original Disneyland has that special, I guess, je ne sais quoi to it, that you can't quite describe it. There's something special about it, yeah.
Yeah. I think, for me, I've never been to the other Disney Worlds, Florida, Paris, Tokyo. I haven't been to any of them. But I have been to the Disneyland in California multiple times, and I must say, I agree, it's so magical, and I think part of it has to do with the fact that Walt Disney himself had such a huge hand in it. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of it, like, for example, Main Street and the way he had it set up to kind of be reminiscent of his hometown in Missouri. And most of it is still intact. I mean, the shops have changed over the years, but it's just that kind of welcoming ambiance that really feels magical. It's like it's like you're walking into a different world. Another thing that would be really big that's really big at Disneyland right now is, of course, with the release of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. There's tons of Star Wars merchandise that you can get now at Disneyland and outside of Disneyland in downtown Disney. And so I think now it's a great time to visit, especially if you're either a Disney fan or a Star Wars fan. I mean, there's so much to enjoy.
Yeah, so they opened this thing called the Star Wars Launch Bay or something like that, where the old Innoventions is. They still have the Marvel Heroes thing upstairs, but basically what they do is they have a lot of set pieces from different movies. So we saw Rey's her little junk collector.
Her little scrap collecting car.
Really
I don't know
cool.
what it's called.
And they have like scale models of, the Star Destroyer and all of that stuff. And the coolest thing is they have a specialty shop there with replica helmets and like the suits and all that. Yeah,
that's for if you really want to make it rain and you have an ass load of money. You can buy, a Darth Vader suit. You can buy a Stormtrooper suit. There are thousands of dollars, but you can buy that. And like you said, the specialty replicas that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah.
That's being sold there too. And it's really cool.
So that's a recent internet sensation. I don't know if you remember, during the holidays, Mark Hamill was responding to fans asking if the signature was authentic. Uh-huh. And the cool thing is at the launch bay, they have signatures of all the cast on, I think, Jedi on sale.
Yeah.
And that was crazy because even if you go by previous signatures, you can tell it's authentic. And plus, it's Disney. They're not going to
sell you. I mean, their reputation means a lot to them, so they're not going to sell you, a fake signature. And I think they all came with certificates of authenticity as well. So that's another thing. If you're a collector, now's a good time to hit up Disneyland if you can. Also, or if you're just interested, if you're in the Southern California area, you can just go to downtown Disney too, and there's a shop that has a lot of Star Wars merchandise as well. So that whole atmosphere is really cool. So I enjoyed it. We're going to go back in the summer, so that's going to be fun. A lot hotter, but it'll be fun. Hopefully Indiana Jones will be working this time. So
it won't be as crazy because we went on one of the busiest day of the year, I think. So where you literally couldn't walk anywhere. Like you got rerouted everywhere.
That's true. And We've gotten yelled at multiple times by Disneyland staff members because we were insistent on going a certain way, and they were trying to reroute people like in other directions. But yeah, when you need to get somewhere quickly, when you're trying to make that fast pass time, nothing else matters.
I think that's the first time I've ever been yelled at by a Disney cast member. Like, they're always so pleasant, but you can tell they were stressed out.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we were there New Year's Eve, and it was exhausting. And they actually told us not to leave the park because they were probably going to hit capacity.
Yeah.
And even if you left the park and got your hand stamped, you might not be let back in. And since that was the only day we were going to be there, like, we did it for the long haul. I mean, we got there so damn early. We got there before the park opened, and we stayed till well after midnight, and it was just exhausting. And there were just so many people. But, I mean, the atmosphere was really fun. And, you kind of forget how tired you are sometimes.
Yeah.
But we did have issues with the Indiana Jones ride, which really sucked because we had gotten a fast pass to go on it, got in line, and it broke down. And then we tried to go in again, and it broke down. And then we did it a third time when it was up and running again, and it broke down. And so we wasted quite a bit of time hoping for Indiana Jones to work. And really, okay, tip for anyone out there, if you want to ride Indiana Jones, go in the morning and fast pass a morning time or something like that, because it will break down constantly. I mean, and the same thing happens in California Adventure with the Radiator Spring Racers. It breaks down all the time. And so you can try going in the morning. That's really your best shot if you want to get on that ride.
Yeah, I mean, it's never really broken down on me before. But I think it's because it's being run so hard.
Yeah, it was being run hard over and over again. And so, yeah, it was really a mess.
It's so bad that we got in a fast pass lane and we never made it past like the first third of the line or something like that.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we never even saw the vehicles. That's how bad it was.
Yes, we didn't see the vehicles. We get to the room with the little video monitor and the instructions. Like, in the queue, there's so much like little interactive details to entertain you, and we didn't get to see any of that because we didn't even get that far.
Yeah. But, next time.
Yeah, next time. So, let's see, moving on. What else do you want to talk about?
Okay, so let's talk about something a little bit more game related. So, we haven't really had that much time to play very many games lately. But one that we did complete recently was Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yay! We finished it last night.
So I wanted to talk about that, and I want to start by saying that I do feel like it's a really amazing game. It's really well done.
It was beautifully done, and I thought the story was really great. I'm not going to give away any spoilers for people who are still playing through it, but the story behind it was kind of reminiscent of, at least in my mind, of the whole Himiko myth, but it's kind of like a different take on that. But I mean, the gameplay was really awesome. I liked the combat scenes. I loved the puzzles, but some of them were needlessly convoluted. I found not that many of them. A few of them were frustrating, but overall, I liked the puzzles. I liked finding, I'm one of those people who likes finding like the old documents and the old scrolls, and reading like what the viewpoint of a long gone Mongol horde was, and like reading documentation of the Soviets that were there and stuff like that. I find that really interesting because it's like all these people had made it through to that point.
Well, I mean, yeah, some of the puzzles could be a little frustrating, but I think it speaks volumes that we didn't have to look up any guides online.
That is true.
At any point.
We actually, yes, it wasn't so ridiculous that you felt hopeless.
Yeah.
Like, you could still figure it out. You just needed to kind of focus a little harder.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. I can't believe I didn't even think of that. I mean, we didn't have to look up any sort of guides. We just were able to play through.
There were some games that we played, and it's like, there's no way in hell we would have figured that out.
I know, right?
Yeah. But I think there was definitely more character development in this one.
Definitely.
Maybe more on the side characters as well this time. And
I would agree.
the thing that I think it's funny that no one mentions is that Laura Croft is really a mass murderer. Like, I can't even tell you how many people we killed in cold blood, and then kind of contrast that to the first one in the beginning where she couldn't even hurt a deer that she needed to kill to survive. She's
true.
come a long way.
She's come a long way. Now, there's more killings than in Grand Theft Auto, quite honestly.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think whoever they picked to do the voice acting for Lara Croft did a really astounding job. I think there was a lot more emotion in the voice as opposed to the old one. But then again, back in the day, voice acting wasn't as big of an acting gig as it is now, I don't think.
Well, yeah, I think with improving technology, there's a really big focus on, the believability of the characters. And since the backgrounds, the game itself, the design and everything becomes more complicated, you want the characters to kind of grow in that same direction as well and become more complicated, more three-dimensional, and more human-like, because, they are supposed to be humans. They look like humans. So even if they're completely digital.
I don't think I've seen this many famous people doing video game voiceovers before. I think it's a trend showing that people are taking video games more seriously as a medium.
Yeah.
For example, I'm sure they paid him a lot of money, but Advanced Warfare, Call of Duty had Kevin Spacey.
That was fantastic.
Who was great. And you have all these new games coming out, Until Dawn had some famous actors.
Oh, yeah. It had Hayden Panettiere and what was it, Rami Malek?
Yeah. The guy from iRobot, which is a great show.
I thought it was Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot, that's right. Mr. Robot, sorry. Which is a great show. And also I think The Witcher 3 had, what's his face? The Lannister
Charles
guy.
Dance.
Yeah, they had the Lannister guy.
Tywin Lannister.
So I think it's a great thing that people are taking it more seriously. And now it's actually, getting its own award shows and things like that. Whereas back in the day, when we played video game, it's you play video games?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely... Video game culture is definitely evolving and becoming more sophisticated and more respected, which is great for those of us, who continue to play games, well into adulthood. Seeing that become more and more common is really great.
Yeah, so I think the greatest thing about these games is they tell a narrative that you feel like you have an effect on. Right?
Yes.
Playing the game, it feels like you're actually instilling that change and you're the reason why this happens to this character. Whereas in a movie, it's just kind of passive enjoyment, right?
Yeah. And so, it's different. In Tomb Raider, you're actually the one who's jumping from, cliff to cliff and everything like that. And when you're in combat levels, there are multiple ways to take down your enemies. And so you can actually work out a strategy that matches your gameplay and how you would if you were a tactician, how you would take out these guys. And it gives people a chance to kind of tailor the experience to how they think and what they enjoy. And of course, we've talked about it several times, and we're huge fans of Until Dawn. And that's a game where everything you decide definitely has a huge part to play in how the story unfolds.
Which reminds me, I think they're re-releasing the HD remaster of Heavy Rain.
Oh, Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
I want them to remaster also L.A. Noire.
That would be good. So, the thing is, the developer that made that game, I think, went under a while ago.
That's sad.
Due to employee disputes. They were going to make a game called Horror of the Orient. And it never came to fruition because they got acquired by some other company. And I think the project just kind of got buried. Because I think it was Team Bondi. That was the name of the developer.
Oh, okay.
And apparently they were abusing their developers making them work overtime, not giving them enough pay, and like there's all
I thought
those
that was
labor
pretty
issues.
much par for the course in game development.
Yeah, but even so, there are some basic standards that you need to follow.
That's true. Okay.
You know, like basic human rights that they had to kind of like follow. But yeah, a lot of employees came out and said it was just absolutely abusive work environment. So
Clearly, those people have never been graduate students.
well, that's a story for another time.
Yeah, that's slave labor, pretty much. As someone who's lived it
Yeah. So
and survived.
so it's unfortunate because I think they pioneered the whole motion capture thing in terms of photorealism, right? They had the guy from Mad Men.
Yeah, the casting director for Mad Men was the same one who did L.A. Noire, and so it was really cool because we were watching the Mad Men at the same time we were playing L.A. Noire, and so it's like, oh my god, you get to see what was his name? What's his name in Mad Men? His character's name. The blonde guy. Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank because he's the main protagonist in L.A. Noire.
Is it Cole Phelps or something like that?
No.
I don't remember.
We were just like, oh, you get to see so-and-so save the world. And there was like all these people from Mad Men who are in L.A. Noire, who they're immortalized, basically, which is so cool.
And that story was just absolutely amazing. Like, it flowed, right?
It flowed really well.
You didn't feel like there was like... So Grand Theft Auto, I love Grand Theft Auto. So,
who doesn't love Grand Theft Auto?
So people kind of compare the two, right? Because they're all open world games.
Yes.
But the thing with L.A. Noire is the game flowed together in a way that you go from one case to the next without any interruptions in between. But with Grand Theft Auto, there's too much distraction outside of the main missions that you could easily go off on a tangent.
That's true.
And never come back, right?
Yeah.
So... in fact, a lot of people that played Grand Theft Auto 3 didn't even know there was a main game mission. They're just like, I thought I walked around and punched people in the face.
Ken Cosgrove.
Yeah.
That's it. We get to see Ken Sorry, I had to look it up on IMDb because it was driving me crazy. Ken Cosgrove. You get to see Ken Cosgrove save the world in L.A. Noire.
Yeah.
Played by Aaron Stanton. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
So... but that makes me wonder, like, a lot of games, I think, this holiday season are following that whole open world thing. So you have Fallout 4.
I love Fallout 4.
Even Rise of the Tomb Raider kind of has an open worldy feel because you go to different hubs and you can do side missions.
That's true. There's side tomb missions and relics that you pick up throughout, like, along the way that are from different time periods, which is really cool. And then also what I liked in Tomb Raider was there's a lot of like frescoes on the wall and engravings and even Soviet propaganda. And so the more you look at them, your proficiency in translating the languages goes up, which is pretty cool.
I really hope... I mean, I don't think the game sold as well as they wanted it to. It did go over 1 million units, but I really hope for Crystal Dynamics' sake that they eventually catch up in sales and are able to make a sequel, because it would be a shame to see this series die.
Oh, I was going to talk about the end, because remember I told you in that end scene after the credits that gave you kind of a clue where the next one would be. But I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I mean, if it's what I think it's going to be, what they're thinking of doing the next installment of Tomb Raider on, I mean, it would be so cool. It would be very exciting. And I'm with you. I hope it gets made. I mean, I would love playing it. I mean, I love games like that. I tend to like more thoughtful games. So, of course, which is another reason why I'm a big fan of the Sherlock Holmes series. I guess I like to always be thinking and solving puzzles. I mean, that's probably why I do what I do.
You just have an intellectual mind. So that brings an interesting question, and that's there's always been a parallel drawn between Uncharted and Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I can see that.
Actually, originally it's between Uncharted, the original, versus all the previous Tomb Raiders, because it had a very similar premise.
Yeah.
So the question is now, with Uncharted continuously being delayed, it's like, okay, it's your move now, Naughty Dog. What are you going to do? Because Rise of the Tomb Raider is so well written, right? And people already thought the original was good, and this one, I think, is even better than the last.
Yeah, it is better.
So Uncharted has a lot to live up to.
I think, like, with Tomb Raider coming out and them now knowing how Tomb Raider played out story-wise and gameplay-wise, I think they're kind of maybe revisiting some of the choices that they've made to kind of compete and be on that same level.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was a really great game. And I'm sure they don't want people expecting the world of them. And then, I mean, expectations are already high for Uncharted right now. Because it's taken so long to come out. And so it's like, oh, you know, it better be a perfect game, you know? And so I think with Tomb Raider being so well done, I mean, that just adds more fuel to the fire. It's a lot more pressure.
Yeah. So are there any games that you're looking forward to this coming year?
Well, I mean, since we have been playing Lego Dimensions, and so I'm looking at getting more character and level packs. I mean, we have the Simpsons level pack that we haven't opened yet. And that's going to be fun. And I don't know. Isn't the new Sherlock Holmes coming out this Christmas?
I think so.
Yes. So something that we do whenever the Sherlock Holmes, whenever a new installment of it comes out, and we have like what, I think we have all of the last installments.
We actually have all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them are on PC. They didn't start coming to consoles until I think like 3 games ago.
Yeah. But I mean, we have the PC hooked up to our TV too. So our ritual is, since they tend to come out during the holidays, on Christmas Eve, we'll get like pizza or some takeout or whatever and just play like all night. And it is so much fun, and I'm looking so forward to it.
Yeah.
I just can't wait. I mean, I know it's like a year away, but I mean, you know, time goes by so fast. It's gonna be here before we know it, and we'll be able to do that.
You know what I like the most about the progression of that series is the puzzles are actually doable now. Like the original ones we played on PC, some of them were like, there's no way we would have saw that coming.
Yeah, some of the older versions. The puzzles were so ridiculously complicated. We had to look up guides, and also you couldn't leave the room without solving everything.
Yeah.
And in this latest one, you could solve it, quote unquote, incorrectly. Or actually, I don't even think there was a published right or wrong. It was just when you would go online to look at statistics, you can see like a percentage of gamers that sided with you and chose the same things you did. But it wasn't like this was the right murderer, or this was the right person, and this was the right motive. And because I remember in the older versions, we were getting so frustrated because if you didn't find every single fucking clue in the room, you couldn't leave, and you couldn't finish that case. And so that was something I really liked on this one, is like you can draw conclusions based off of the information you had, and it wasn't necessarily right or wrong.
Or it will be like, you know, you have access to 3 different rooms and you can't move on because there's a little pin somewhere that you couldn't even see on your computer because the lighting was shitty in that game that you had to press for something to click, and then like 3 rooms over.
Yeah.
And then you go hit that and you come 2 more rooms over.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But yeah, they're getting better, and I'm very happy about that. And I liked putting disguises on him too. Yeah. Like I think I made him up like Salvador Dali. Yeah. That was pretty funny. I think I took a picture of it and had it on my phone for a while. But anyways, so I think that is going to conclude, or I think that's going to be it for us tonight. I mean, we're still getting into the groove of things, and we have been really busy. So again, we apologize for the kind of desert of content. And I'm in a good mood right now, and it is a 3-day weekend, and I hope you guys had fun during your 3-day weekend if you had it. And I'm going to go make some cookies now. What are you going to do?
I'm probably going to watch YouTube videos or something like that. Oh, actually, no. I'm going to watch Harry Potter because Alan Rickman just passed away.
Yes, he passed away, like, what was that, on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Very tragic. I mean, right after losing David Bowie, who's such an icon, and then losing Alan Rickman right after that, it was, I mean, they were both 69. They both had cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tragic. And so, yes, we are also going to be doing, like I mentioned on our Twitter account, we are going to be doing like a Harry Potter marathon. But we're also going to see other movies like Sense and Sensibility and probably Die Hard and just really celebrate the work of Alan Rickman. And so if you haven't seen, I mean, I'm sure most of our audience has seen the Harry Potter movies, but also, check out Sense and Sensibility and Die Hard.
Yeah.
There's also very good films. Maybe we'll dig out some of the more obscure films that he's been into, some of his older work.
I think that's funny because based on Twitter, you can tell what generation the Twit-E is from. Because if they said, R.I.P. Snape, they're from, like, the millennials.
Yeah.
And if they say R.I.P. Hans Gruber, they're from, like,
Gen X.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you and I are, like, in between the two. And so we're like, oh, no, Hans Gruber. Oh, no, Snape. It was, like, both.
Yeah. But
Hans Gruber and Snape were one person.
He was an amazing human being, and may he rest in peace.
Yes. So we hope everyone has everyone is having a great new year, and we will talk again soon.
All right. See you later.
Thank you.